at headquarters of Wigan, the giants of the rugby league world. Remember, this is their first ever appearance at Twickenham. They're playing Richmond in their opening round match in just a couple of minutes' time. Well, before we go to the action, let's have a word with Jamie Salmon. Jamie, it's an overworked phrase, an historic occasion, but very significant, isn't it?
Yes, it most certainly is. A year ago, to say Wigan would be playing the Middlesex Sevens, they'd laugh you out of court. So to see them here, you know, in their famous red and white hoops is quite remarkable, really.
And one thing in particular that you're looking forward to seeing, I mean, the style of play here?
Well, I think it'll be obviously very quick, because they're very used to a quick game. And from Richmond's point of view, if I was them, I'd kick the ball into touch and see how Wigan cope with the line-out, because off the ground and with their handling skills, I think Wigan are going to be far too strong.
Well, we're about to find out. Let's go to the action. Commentary now coming from Stuart Barnes and Eddie Hemmings.
Thank you, David. And out come Wigan and this Richmond side. And we have had quite a week, haven't we, on Sky Sports? We got Wigan against Bath on Wednesday night. And now here we are at headquarters as Shaun Edwards leads the Wigan side out for the Middlesex Sevens. Stuart, history.
Yes, it is. I thought you'd needed to be on drugs to see this a year ago, but it's going to be a great treat as well for the crowd.
Well, I fancy it is. If you look down the Wigan side, they've got Robinson, TUIGAMALA, OFFIAH, Paul, Edwards, Farrell and Quinnell. They can all score tries. And for Richmond, it's the Hutton brothers, Kingdom, Elliott, Roblin, Goodburn and Adrian Boyd. Martin OFFIAH, 6 tries against Bath on Wednesday evening, and he returns to the scene of his last appearance in the Sevens in 1987, and after that he came north, Widnes, Wigan and the rest is in the record books. Henry Paul then in the white boots gets us underway here. The ball out on the full, was it?
Well, I think that's the point, Eddie. A very different ruling on the 10-yard kickoff. And Wigan struggled there.
They did indeed. Not the start that Henry Paul would have wanted there.
No, well, they don't like white boots on Twickenham, you know, Albin.
I think he must have been standing in a vat of bleach by the looks of things. But anyway, first scrum goes down and Wigan have the head and feed, and that could be something that they will have to watch for when they next come here to Twickenham on May the 25th. A big push at the scrum, but Robinson picks the ball up, then slips. Of course, the totally different rules as far as Wigan are concerned today. They have to release the ball when they go down. This though is Martin OFFIAH, and he knows that the half of the length of the field has opened up ahead of him, and he just canters from one end of the field to the other. Martin OFFIAH gets the first try for Wigan, and he got it in a canter, as I say.
Yes, doubtless we'll see more of Martin OFFIAH today, but it was interesting, that try, Eddie, coming from a bad scrum, and I think that encapsulates the strength and the weakness of the Wigan team playing league. They went backwards a long way because of their scrummaging, but they can get out of trouble because, as you say, they've got scorers and athletes in all positions, and they really are remarkable ball players. And Jason Robinson obviously slipped there, but he's another one with tremendous pace. And Henry Paul, great player, isn't he?
Super player, lovely ball over the top to Martin OFFIAH. But it was interesting that Robinson, as he was tackled, first time he did release the ball, which is totally alien, of course, to the way that he has been brought up.
Yes, he did very well, and I think that's credit to Wigan's professionalism, that they actually know what they're doing. Because Bath showed it's not easy to go from one code to the other.
7-0 then, Wigan lead, Bath. Richmond restart.
You got Bath on the mind, Eddie.
Well, with you alongside, what do you expect? Penalty to Wigan. Dangerous for Richmond when Wigan have the ball in their hands, and when this fella gets the ball, you can almost put the glasses down every time. He's toying with him, and there's another try for Martin OFFIAH. Oh, well, he's messing around now, and that's dangerous. Gives it to Edwards, and he scores. Bit of arrogance from Martin OFFIAH then, and that really wasn't called for. He should have put the ball down, in my view.
No, I think you're right there, and that won't endear him to the Twickenham crowd. But made by Shaun Edwards there. For me, he's a man that English Rugby Union would have loved to see him playing that code. He's outstanding talent. And OFFIAH, he may be arrogant, but he's such a graceful runner. And poor old Paul Roblin, he had about as much chance as you and me of capturing OFFIAH there.
Yeah, but this is where it gets silly. I mean, he's 10 metres from the line now. He's up the line, and he steps back and messes around. And he's lucky that Edwards is there in support.
there's no excuse either, because he didn't stop to get the ball inside so that they could score under the post for the conversion. It went outside anyway, so no, that's inexcusable.
Try for Shaun Edwards then, the most decorated man in British Rugby League, a Great Britain international. 12-0 Wigan lead. 7 times league champions in a row, Wigan of course. 8 out of 9 Challenge Cup winners, and Jason Robinson is going to post another try here, and it's becoming a procession, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And
they have no answer.
No, they haven't. Richmond tried a cheeky little kick-off there, but I don't think you're going to catch Wigan out for being slow-witted. That's one thing they won't, and, you know, I don't think you want to give the ball to this man. Jason Robinson, for me, he's about as slippery as an Exxon Valdez seagull. Look at that. Just beautiful play, and a wonderful pace. I mean, how close is he to a fire in terms of speed, Eddie?
He's pretty quick. He's pretty quick off the mark. He is also very elusive with his running. He just ducks the shoulder, sends them all the wrong way, and he's through the gap.
Yes, the Bath players were really impressed with Jason Robinson. They thought he was a tremendous player.
Well, if you were Richmond, what on earth would you do? 19-0 down, and we've only been playing, it seems, a couple of minutes. Every time they give Wigan the ball, Wigan score a try, emphasising why they are regarded here as the favourites today. And OFFIAH in bother and getting himself in a mess.
And the crowd enjoyed that, Eddie.
Well, it was payback time, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Again, he was just a little bit hesitant behind his old goal line, and I think he had slight problems with the rules. Thought he could just tap down and kick out. Now this will be interesting. Will Richmond keep the control on their scrummage?
Doug Elliott with the feed. Comes back out to Elliott. He picks up at the base of the scrum. Tries to go around the outside, but good defence from Wigan. Scott Quinnell, of course, against the club that he will join. Rumours from the north of England are that Wigan will release him towards the end of June so as he can take up his new career with Richmond. Long line out. The ball is knocked forward, and Edwards. It's a very, very deep in-goal area here at Twickenham. We don't have that sort of in-goal area in the north of England in the Rugby League, or in London, or in Paris.
But this is very interesting, isn't it? Not the normal line-out, very long. Wigan trying to keep the game as fluid as possible. I think we'll see that Twickenham today and in a fortnight's time from them. But again, they're under pressure now, aren't they, in this technical area?
Well, they are. There'll be a big push at the scrum here, and one against the head, which doesn't happen very often in Rugby League. Penalty, though, at the scrum. Richmond running it. Little dab through by Giles Goodman. Ball breaks. Biggest cheer of the afternoon for Richmond as Adrian Boyd goes in for the try.
Yes, no doubt, Eddie. I can't overemphasise the importance of the set-piece area. That all came about because Wigan could not control the ball on their own putting. Shaun Edwards accused of feeding, and really they're on the back foot, and that's a good pick-up and a good finish by Roblin there. And I think you're right, that's certainly the biggest roar of the day.
Nice little dab through. Henry Paul, no answer to it. Boyd picking up under pressure from Martin OFFIAH. The try was not converted, but Richmond are on the board. That's the main thing. Wigan ahead 19 points to 5. Manages to make the 10 this time, does Henry Paul. Ball is knocked forward.
Yeah, that was a good kick-off there from Henry Paul. Richmond did very well, but here's the difference to me between Wigan and their opponents. You wouldn't see Wigan doing that, and now Wigan are in a score position if they can win the ball.
Well, soccer skills from Henry Paul. He's dabbed it through, and again, he knows it's a deep in-goal area. He'll get the try, and he does. Henry Paul, the New Zealand international, a try on Wednesday as well, a try here at Twickenham today. Stuart, what will this do, do you think, to the Wigan confidence for May the 25th?
At the moment, despite the fact that they're 26-5 ahead and Henry Paul is showing this crowd what a fine player he is, I think they'll be slightly worried because this is 3-a-side and this isn't scrummage. And even with that score there, Eddie, you could see that Wigan had trouble. They had to play the football, as you said. Of course, in the Northwest, they're good footballers as well. But Bath will watch this and think, yes, we've got a chance in that set-piece area. But Richmond, you said earlier, what would they do against Wigan? I think buy a few more players.
Well, they have the money these days, don't they? 24-5. Quinnell, of course, one of the players they have gone out and bought. It's half-time rugby, but sevens rugby under a different set of rules. Second half is underway. Deep kick-off. Edwards underneath the ball. And Henry Paul tries to skirt away from trouble and does. Look at the acceleration now from Paul. And he's going to go in from one end of the field to the other. And I fancy we won't see any messing around from Henry Paul, though he has to be careful because closing in very closely behind him is Adrian Boyd. And he takes the play and the ball just a little bit closer to the posts to ease Andrew Farrell's conversion. Second try for Henry Paul then.
And a superb try again. Henry Paul is such a balanced player, isn't it? Just check in, step, change of pace. The Richmond defence there, really, they had a chance on him there, but he's so strong, and the acceleration there. And is that a trademark in his game in league?
Yes, he's an elusive player, and he's got some speed, but he was slowing down there. Adrian Boyd nearly got to him, and then he decided to try and improve the angle for Farrell's conversion attempt.
But I don't blame him for slowing down, because it is a long afternoon playing sevens, and if you know you're in, there's no point burning any extra energy.
Well, 29 points to 5. I think we can safely say that Wigan will progress into the quarter-finals. And it's a learning curve, I suppose, for them all the time. Paul Roblin restarts the match. Farrell, as he falls, tosses the ball inside. TUIGAMALA, he gets it out wide to Robinson. Quinnell is outside him. Robinson on a little run, halted by Goodburn. Also in the tackling was Roblin, but Wigan released the ball, and over the head from Edwards. Farrell just picks it up off the head of Kingdon, but the referee will pull them back.
It's fascinating watching them, because even though it's seven-a-side Union game, they play it so differently. I mean, Edwards' confidence here, and he knows he's got players in support, doesn't he?
He does know, but that, I think, was forward pass, wasn't it? So the referee has put this scrum down. Richmond with the feed, get the ball back. So the possession now for Richmond. Quinnell, this is Robbie Hutton onto his brother Mike, who comes back to regroup through the legs. Picked up then by Roblin. Edwards is round him, trying to steal the ball. Penalty, Wigan. Quinnell takes it quickly. Robinson to Henry Paul, to TUIGAMALA, and he just steps on the gas, bursts past the defender, and strolls his way to the line. Waiga TUIGAMALA right underneath the posts.
Good reception for him there. Of course, he lost in '93 with New Zealand here, but he's not going to lose to Richmond today. And you know, when this ball came out from Henry Paul to via TUIGAMALA, the last person in the stadium anyone wanted to be is poor old John Kingdon. He had no chance. That change of pace is devastating from such a big man.
And cheers in the background because Shaun Edwards has just missed with the conversion from bang in front of the posts.
Well, that's going to be a candidate for the worst kick of the day award.
And you don't need to tell Shaun Edwards, he's a consummate professional. And he didn't like that. He didn't like the fact that the Twickenham crowd had a little laugh at him. 34-5. Risky business. Henry Paul. TUIGAMALA is there in support. Underneath his own post, brushes one aside, finds Robinson. Robinson through the gap, look at the pace. Oh, it's sensational pace from Robinson. Saw a little gap, it was only, what, 2 or 3 yards wide. Darted through it. Pushed his foot on the gas. And a second try for Jason Robinson, eventually. It was the initial dart steward that won the race there, and he got the try in his own quarter.
Yes, people talk about sort of speed over 100 metres. That's not what matters. What matters is the acceleration from the standing start. And as we see it here, that is fabulous. I mean, Richmond had men in numbers, and they did not get near him. And it's that 20 yards burst, and that enables him just to saunter in.
41-5. And the conversion from Robinson that time. 2 minutes left for play. Wigan safely in the quarter-finals. Notice one of the statements from Mike Hutton, the Richmond captain, before this match, and asked what did he hope to achieve in this game. He said simply to stay alive against Wigan. Well, he's managed to stay alive, but his team, I'm afraid, will be playing in the plate.
They scored as many tries in 14 minutes as Bath did in 80, though, Eddie.
Absolutely right. Wigan get the possession from the scrum. Robinson, Henry Paul steps inside the man again, accelerates away from Roblin, gives it to OFFIAH. OFFIAH through one, through two. Now then, surely he's not going to mess around this time. The pursuer is Doug Elliott. He's learned his lesson. Touches down behind the post, two for OFFIAH.
A certain air of inevitability about that one. Again, superb speed from Martin OFFIAH. So elusive, and he's got such great upper body strength as well. It's not just pace at all. You go high on OFFIAH, and you so often miss him. You can see it there. That happened to Slidestone once on Saturday, and it happened again here.
Martin OFFIAH in easily for the 9th Wigan try, and Martin OFFIAH is going to have a crack at converting his own try, which he does, from bang in front. 9 Wigan tries then, surpassing the previous best in the tournament by Orrell.
I think that man may score a few more before the tournament's out. I'll have a bet with you.
Well, it might be the only bet you'll win today, Stuart. 48 points to 5. And perhaps the only bet you might win on the 25th of May as well. Ball went out after it had been palmed back into play by Mike Hutton, but the referee draws Richmond's agony to a close. Jason Robinson, Martin OFFIAH, 2 tries apiece, 9 tries for Wigan, easy winners, 48 points to 5.
Good at them. Once you make a clean break in this game, it should be try time, and that's what occurred. You notice they keep the ball alive. They don't want to get involved in anything tight. They're not interested in the ruck. They'll take the gamble. They'll throw the ball back 50 metres because they know they have the pace to go back, recover, then attract the men too, then one little twinkle from Robinson or Paul, and they're away.
In 2 weeks' time, of course, it's the return. It's Bath against Wigan here. What will Bath, who've been watching that, what will they have gained from it? What will they have learned, what they have to do?
Well, first of all, they'll have to tackle, but they will be sucked into it. We saw him during that game, that they'll use the long line-outs. They won't be interested in trying to mix it in the forwards. They'll just keep the ball alive.